We've talked about forms and sheets and how they work together to provide a real powerful tool for educators. But we haven't talked specifically about Google Sheets. Now, Google Sheets is similar to Microsoft Excel, Numbers on the Mac side. And so let's take a look and see if we can't just kind of explore some of the features within Google Sheets. So I'm going to start in Google Drive. Remember that what we want to do is we first want to go to the folder, which we want the individual file to reside. I'm going to click on New and notice that Google Sheets shows up here. I click on Sheets. Because it's a shared folder, it's going to ask if I want to create it, and I say yes. And the first thing I like to do whenever I create a sheet is just take and make sure I have a file name for it. It makes it easier to find. So let's do some stuff here and we show you how these different things work. So the first thing I want to show you is just a couple tricks here. So I'm going to start to number, and let's say I have to put in numbers from 1 to 20. So I've started a range of numbers. Now here's the cool thing. If I go through and I say, all right, let's select that. So I just clicked on the first A1 and I just scroll down as I'm holding down my mouse button. Notice I get a little anchor here, and this is from my stats teacher, Merle Ferrier. Jack grabs Jill, runs down the hill, and what it does is it automatically fills those numbers in. So what's really cool about this, if I go 2, 4, oops, not 5, 2, 4, 6, again, if I do that same thing, I select this body, it's going to continue to count down by 2s as well. So it's really a powerful way of very quickly filling in numbers instead of having to enter all of them in. So we're just grabbing that autofill icon and going from there. Again, if I wanted to, I could do the same thing going this direction. So notice I have these 1, 2, 3. I come all the way out to H, and maybe let's extend it one more. Watch what's going to happen here. So now I'm counting by 2s. Here I'll count by 3s, and so on and so forth. So again, Google Sheets, much like Excel, allows you to do some very simple, easy things within a sheet here. So I'm going to come down to the bottom of this sheet. I'm going to click on the plus sign, and notice what it does is it adds another one. Now, one of the cool things about this is I can double click on this, and I can call this whatever I like. So if I'm going to have special tags or tabs that I want to label, I can do that on this piece here. So I'm going to very quickly add some data into here, then we'll come back and I'll show you how to graph this data. Notice that I've entered some data in here, and now what I want to do is I want to show you how you might use this as a way to create charts and graphs. So I know, at least for a science teacher, we're always looking for ways to analyze data, and one of the ways that we can do that is by creating graphs. And so let's just say I had 2 different activities I did with my students. One, had them flip a coin 100 times and determine how many heads and how many tails, and so I wanted to find the percentage of that. And I also went out to the parking lot and I counted, it's a big parking lot, I counted the number of cars and the color of those cars in the parking lot. So let's look at how we graph those. So the first thing I'm going to do when I graph something is I'm just going to select, so click and hold and drag down to select the columns and the rows that I want to graph. I come up here to insert, and then I come down to chart, and what you'll notice is it gives me a chart sample. And because it already knows the data range that I want, it's already created that chart for me. So you notice that I've got a 59%, a 41%. It's going to recommend the charts based on the data that I have. But if I want, I can come over here and I can switch between the different charts here to see if either any of these work better or worse than the other one. I can actually look for other ones. I click here on charts again. I can start to look for different types of charts or trend charts and things like that I want. So if I click on that one there, again, it gives me a little bit different donut chart. And if I want, I can customize my chart by changing the title. So here I would put heads versus tails, and I can change my legend around, do different things. And again, just notice that it's a pretty powerful application here within the Google Sheets. When I click on insert, it throws that right into my spreadsheet. And again, notice that I can move this around if I need to so that it's not in the way, out of the way of my data. I can save the image, so I can now put that into a document if I want to, copy that, add it to another chart or sheet similar to this one here. So yeah, so that's a pretty easy, quick, easy way of editing this data here. Now let me just show you one other example. I'm going to come over to this one. This might be a little bit different graph or a little bit different look. Again, I select the data, I come to insert, I go to chart, and you notice again it's going to put in different types of chart. I kind of like the pie chart there. I might take and look at the donut chart if that's going to give me any different color, but I can very quickly and easily look at this and say the white color here, that is the most prevalent. Now the problem with that is that I'm not really I don't really representing the right colors here. So I'm going to show you how we can customize and change those colors. So I'm going to click on here, go to and click on the different series here, and so you notice that for red, this is colored red, so we're going to change that to blue, or change it from blue to red. We're going to go to the next one, green, and I'm just going to go through, and so I can customize and select these individual series and go through and label these as, oops, that's a little bit too light there, so I'm going to come back to here. We'll change that to this color there. There we go. And so on and so forth. So very easy to change and modify that. Again, a great way as science teachers and maybe math teachers and others to have students graph data. So that's just one aspect of Google Sheets that you might find helpful, that again, I think is a powerful piece. I also just want to point out very quickly, we have lots of formatting tools, so I can change the font. I can set decimal points and change the format of my cells. So if I'm looking at financial data, if I wanted this row to be financial data, I simply click here, I select that, and then I come down to financial, and it's going to actually represent that as a money icon right there. And if I want to, I could do that, and it's going to throw the $sign, those types of things. So again, I encourage you to go out and explore Google Sheets. Again, there's lots we can do within that go well beyond the basic Google course, but I just wanted to give you a look and feel for some of the other features that you can find within Google Sheets.